Well, let's discuss this issue further now, the issue of coalitions with political analyst Ebrahim Harvey. Ebrahim, good afternoon. Welcome to Today. Thank you very much for your time, sir, here on ENC this afternoon. It looks like some of these multi-party coalitions are in trouble, or are these just growing pains because the coalition politics is like fairly new, or we haven't really dealt with it in the country for many years fully?
No, Dan, thanks. No, coalition governments are on the rise for quite a long time. It's just much more so now recently. You have to see the emergence of coalition government and politics in this country. It's in inverse proportion to the decline of the ANC at the polls. So starting from 2004, the ANC increasingly lost votes at the polls. Now, so the more coalition partners you have in a government, you're going to have a more stormier, rockier, existence. But there's no doubt, Dan, this is a reflection of how the ANC has lost political power at the polls, and all these small parties have come up. It's in inverse proportion to the decline of ANC's political power at the polls, but it's here to stay.
It's here to stay. Yeah, you say it's here to stay, and it's very rocky. Is that good, though, for service delivery?
No, it's not at all. In fact, it makes it more difficult for service delivery because service delivery presupposes some policy uniformity. When you have got political and policy differences between the coalition partners, service delivery is more likely to suffer, Dan. That is what's going to happen. But I predicted this last year in an article in Business Day that we're going to have a very stormy after the local government election results. I predicted that this is what's going to happen. Look at the Eastern Cape. Look at what's happening in the Western Cape even. They might not even have the electoral conference this week because there's also a whole lot of issues there. But then, no matter what the analysts say, because the ANC is on a steep decline, the coalition governments are yet to stay, and you're going to have to find a way of living with it. But there's no doubt that it is yet to stay. I think the ANC is going to lose even more.
But beyond just the country finding a way to live with coalition governments, as you said, is a very rocky kind of arrangement. There has to be a way to make them work. I mean, I think Johannesburg has got 9 parties in its coalition that's led by the DA, and I'm just wondering what can make it work. Are there lessons from there? While Tshwane is battling, as you said, while Nelson Mandela Bay is battling, Joburg seems like it's working. I don't know. Or is that just too superficial?
No, Joburg, if you look at how rocky things were with Joburg, after local government elections, the first 2-3 months, they're doing much better now. And it's very significant because look how many parties there are to the coalition government in Joburg. So it doesn't necessarily say that the more parties there are, the more difficult it's going to be. But I'm worried about the regulations. Really, when you produce regulations to govern local government, I think it's going to create a lot of problems, because where do you draw the line? And that might become itself a battlefield, about what kind of regulations, what power will it have vis-a-vis the constitutional powers of local government that is vested in it at the moment. But it's a very difficult time, Dan. And the other thing you must realize, local government is bound to be more crisis-driven because of what's happening in the country. We have the worst political, socio-economic crisis in the country now, history, Dan. So it's going to rub off on local government, and it is. It's very clear. I mean, look what's happening in the Eastern Cape. Virtually every region, it's been rocky. Wherever coalition governments have been formed, it's been very difficult. Yeah. And I don't think it's going to necessarily get any
better. And we're heading towards the big election, the national and provincial elections in 2024. And analysts and people who are looking ahead from what you've just said, with the ANC's decline in the polling, in polling stations, losing votes since 2004, as you said, one is anticipating a national coalition government. If we can't manage it at the local level, I wonder if we'll manage it at the national level. What are your thoughts?
Well, in my column last week, I predicted, Dan, with News 24, that there's no doubt. I mean, it's so very clear, the Fala Gate scandal that Ramaphosa's faced with so many things happening. And now if you see what's happening in the Western Cape, they might not even have this week the electoral conference. The ANC is facing the worst crisis ever. There's no doubt to my mind. I might be proven wrong, but I'm almost certain the ANC is going to lose 2024, and you're going to have a coalition national government for the first time ever in post-apartheid South Africa of the ANC, EFF, and the DA. This is an unstoppable thing, I think, that's coming. The ANC is just, it's getting worse by the day, Dan, and you look at what's happening now in the Western Cape, the Weekend Argus, they probably might not even have the conference this week, and there's so many allegations of vote rigging and what's happening with the branches, you know, and even the accusation that the ANC's NEC wanted to lower the threshold in the Western Cape so that they could have their, it's unconstitutional, so they could have their electoral conference this week. You know, this is how bad things are going. Although happening in the Western Cape is not necessarily smacking of, you know, factionalist coalition government differences, but it's nevertheless what I think is going to contribute to taking the ANC down increasingly towards a likely defeat in 2014.
Yeah, 2024 is going to be a very interesting general election year. But as you say there, we should brace ourselves for coalitions, not just at the local level, but at the national level. Thank you very much for your time, Ebrahim Harvey, and some of your insights here as we look at the state of alliances that have been brought about by coalitions. Something is working out with Dr. Mpopaladze in Johannesburg. 9 parties in the coalition government of the City of Gold. I wonder what's making it work. To be interesting to find out so far. It was rocky in the beginning, especially after November last year, but she and the other parties seem to have found their stride and things are happening well, at least if there's troubles, we're not hearing of them yet.